So this video is about the explanation of what a position is and what to do in a position. Because positions are not just a static sitting around and doing nothing. In our approach to fitness, we are going for making something like a sitting position on the ground an exercise. So I show you two positions as an example of how we train in positions. So let's take a very common position like the side bend sit. Okay, so we start with biomechanical factors. These factors are how your body is situated in the space and what parts of the body or what characteristics of the body are getting into a specific role. So for example, my sitting position is giving me a special outline what my body is touching the ground. So that's two legs and that's my butt I'm sitting on. And these parts that are touching the ground are forming the so-called base of support. Within this base of support, if I'm in a stable position, my center of gravity is stable inside this space. My points of support are filling out. My points of support are everything that is touching the ground, and the outline of these points of support is describing the base of support. My center of gravity needs to be inside this base of support, otherwise I'm in a very unstable position. More exactly, I cannot hold the position. It means in this position, for example, my base of support is almost in front of me, my center of gravity is at the edge of the base of support. That means as soon as I'm leaning backward, I can compensate for this non-alignment with muscle tension, yeah? But I can hold my position inside the base of support. As soon as my center of gravity is getting out of the base of support, even no muscle tension is more possible to keep me in. The balance of this position is destroyed or it is given up. Okay, so the more efficient I'm inside or the center of the base of support, the more stable I am and the less muscular tension is working in my organism. Okay? So, so in a just static position, I can try to find the perfect position of my center of gravity. And while doing this, I already shift my body weight around within my center of gravity and should feel that there are parts which are quite uncomplicated to shift my body weight in, and there are parts which are complicated to shift my body weight in. Yeah? And it makes it complicated in this direction because my hip mobility is the limit for moving into this direction. There is a little stuff also in positions like, for example, foot situation. My foot situation is like this. It is locking my hip for the most part, and also the knee. But it makes me even more unflexible to go in this direction. Now, if I extend the foot, it is unlocking my hip, and I can have more range of motion here. Practically speaking, in the sense of training, we use this little body weight shift to mobilize this hip. You can also go for a bit of different positions in whatever you can change to have different effects on the mobilization of this knee, of this hip. Okay? So if you want to work on the hip on the knee, for example, you can extend the foot and then you will feel that you can go lower with this hip and there is more rotation and flexion in this knee. If I go for soft bouncing movements, I can have more the impression onto the organism that I move. And this movement is coming out of, or this little bouncing coming out of movement and not of a static hold. Static hold is nothing very natural. Yeah? Because if you are in a static hold in an efficient position, it is getting very energy consuming and tight. So your body actually would like to move all the way to find the best position where he can save energy. Okay, the next thing I can just do in a static position is working on my alignment of the spine. That means the better my hip mobility is and I can sit in this base of support, the better I can align my spine. So I can do the second factor while working on this hip is keeping my spine aligned. So hip mobility, spine stability, and as a third factor that it's easily to introduce is observing my breath and keep my breath as slow and soft as possible. Okay, so that's all the factors of a single static position with a bit of a range of motion to have the possibility to work into limitations. Okay, the next phase out of a position is reaching. Yeah, this little shifting my body weight around for the sake of targeting or intensifying specific body parts or conditional factors. I have the possibility to reach out of this position actually for a practical reason, to get somewhere where there's something of interest. So that would be the natural reason for reaching. Yeah. For our purpose, we do it more like artificial imagination of reaching. So our body gets an idea of he's not just moving because he wants to move without a reason. It is giving your inner world a reason to move because the outer world does something the inner world does not know that it is just imaginary. Okay? So with this reaching, I can intensify tensions and also mobility. Means if I reach like this, I get more mobility into this hip as if I would just bounce into it. Okay, so this gives me the possibility to intensify conditional factors as well as exploring the possibility to move into this direction and feel what is going on in my body when I do this. How is my alignment? How is this hip? How is this foot? How is my base of support? What are the possibilities there? What is my body already wanting me to do if I pretend going further? You already feel what is happening. Yeah? Your body is getting out of balance and wants not getting out of balance because this would mean collapse. He getting out of balance and is already preparing for building up new points of support, a new base of support for keeping the organism safe. Okay, so I reach into this direction, 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 I reach into this direction. So, okay, alone the reaching has abdominal strengthening effects and it is building up tension which is influencing my breath. So while I'm reaching, I can observe my breathing. If the breathing is getting stuck or faster, it means the reaching is already quite intense. If I feel that I can reduce my breathing again, then I know or I give my inner world the information of everything is good, you can relax, and this gives you more possibilities to reach further or explore more. Yeah? So it's gravity working on your tension, tension is working on your breathing. You regulate the breathing and tell your inner world everything is fine. So tension is reducing and the reaching gets further, has more possibilities. Okay? So reaching upwards, reaching forward, sideways in this position I need to rotate, and this rotation also is working on rotational stability, rotational strength, and this is what we actually want, that every movement, every position has a specific conditional factor we want to address. We call this natural isolation.